It's a lovely good evening today, Sunday, the 10th of September 2023, to present Camnet Television main news. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. The top stories in the news tonight: 13 suspected criminals escape from police custody in Lusaka. Surgery on child born with 2 sexual organs has been successfully conducted. Former President Edgar Longo says no one will stop him from serving God. In international news, Gabon Prime Minister unveils transitional government officials. And in sports news, CHIPOLOPOLO coach AVRAM Grant says Zambia deserves to play at the biggest stage.
On Monday, 11th September 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Kasonde Mwenda, President of EFF.
They don't have that money. They have been downgraded, they are in debt. Now they are trying to use KCM to leverage and make money out of us. Where do we put the people of Zambia? Where is their interest? So what we are seeing, those are false words, and we can bet on it. What?
As they discuss, is the political atmosphere conducive and democratic in Zambia? Watch and subscribe to Camnet Television Network on DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 25, Top Star channel 106. Camnet Television, your #1 community station in Zambia. This is your channel of choice. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And I'll have the details in the news. The 2-year-old child of Lusaka's Kalingalinga compound, born with 2 sexual organs, has successfully undergone the first operation. The child, who was born with a rare condition called ambiguous genitalia, however, needs to undergo 2 more surgeries for him to be completely healed, according to medical experts. More in this report.
Born with a rare condition of having both male and female sexual organs, 2-year-old baby Teddy Tembo, not his real name, has successfully undergone his first surgery to correct the anomaly. Baby Teddy's story takes us back to August 13 of 2023, when his story was aired on the screens of Camnet TV with his 29-year-old mother, Messi Tembo, not her real name, lamenting over her predicament and the slow response she was getting from Levi Mwanawasa Hospital. However, after speaking to Levi Mwanawasa Hospital management, medical expert had disclosed that the child was malnourished, hence the reason why his operation was delayed. The hospital then decided to place baby Teddy on a feeding program and monitor him before operation can be conducted. And on the 29th of August 2023, the 2-year-old child, who according to medical expert is said to have features of a male, had his first operation.
And I believe by 29, by Tuesday, and then I'm still operation by Wednesday. After I'm operation, Kabanuza to go Vatican, go Mozambique, and then I took up a man. When I put it up, Potunda chap in the Badira. So, Yami Kakuti Mwema came to content this operation, Yamana, and I'm saying it up. Yamkira Maning and my doctors, Dr. Pindanamrea, and Antantizira was a good in time. Grina Mana, Muona.
Born with a rare condition called ambiguous genitalia, little Teddy, however, has 2 more surgeries to undergo, according to medical experts.
So, 21 went on there. Karana kamba operation in Katatu. So, Caesar Mwazan Uzira, Tisapra, Tebuanji, Nyamiki.
Little Teddy lives together with both his father, a general worker, and mother, who is unemployed, and his elder sister, aged 10, in Lusaka's Kalingalinga compound. The family is hopeful that once surgery is completed, their little bundle of joy will grow up like a normal child. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The National Water Supply and Sanitation Council has proposed that 10% of the Constituency Development Fund (CDF) should be channeled toward improving water and sanitation provision. President Hakainde Hichilema has continued to emphasize that with increased CDF, the provision of water and sanitation services in the country must be prioritized. NWASCO Chief Inspector Peter Mutale tells Camnet News that working with the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, they are exploring ways of getting a constant allocation of funds under CDF towards addressing water and sanitation provision. He says water utility companies have been directed to engage members of the community to assess the water challenges in their catchment areas and recommend interventions.
The Constituency Development Fund, the CDF, is fast becoming a vehicle to facilitate development in the country, and almost every need points at this fund that has been increased from 25.7 million kwacha in 2022 to 28.3 million kwacha in 2023 and is projected to increase in the 2024 national budget.
This is the shallow well where we draw water from. Because we have no water here, so we thought of helping ourselves by digging shallow wells.
Access to water and sanitation services is a problem in all parts of this country, and the fund is seen as a catalyst to mitigate the problem. And during the ceremonial opening of the 13th session of the National Assembly on Friday, 8th September 2023, President Againde Hichilema emphasized that CDF must be utilized to sort out some of the water and sanitation challenges.
The Constituency Development Fund, yet again, has provided another opportunity for our communities to access clean water, safe drinking, cooking, bathing water, and for economic activities, as well as adequate sanitation. Madam Speaker, here is another emotional point. No reason why a government installation, first, school, clinic, court, agricultural camp, livestock camp, should have no flush toilet. The money is there. All I ask this House, members of Parliament, sitting in this House, is to prioritize water and sanitation.
We spoke to National Water Supply and Sanitation Council, NWASCO Chief Inspector Peter Mutale, who proposed that 10% of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, should be channeled towards improving water and sanitation provision in each constituency.
All the utilities have been encouraged, first of all, to meet with the community and agree on what projects that need to be addressed, so that together they agree to say this is what we want to be funded from CDF. So let me mention that most of the commercial utilities, as we speak right now, they have applied for the CDF and some have already received some portion. But what we are discussing with actually the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development is that let's have a minimum percentage which should be allocated to water. Minimum. It could be more, but if you can say, for instance, maybe 10% of the CDF, let it go towards issues of water. So that
he tells Camnet News that, utilizing CDF will complement the enforcement of the expanded mandate, where utilities are now compelled to handle rural water supply and sanitation service provision, just as the new legislation empowers NWASCO to regulate these areas.
I said we need to have a very organized way of having an allocation from CDF. If the ministry could agree, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development could agree to give us that portion, then that would go a long way. And as I mentioned earlier, this issue of rural water supply is something that commercial utilities have just moved into, and also us as NWASCO, we have just moved into this. So CDF actually will go a long way actually in helping us move fully into this rural water, rural areas.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Some residents of Chawama compound are dismayed with the prolonged road rehabilitation works of the service lines along Chimwemwe Road. One of the residents, Christopher Kalima, says business has been affected as potential customers have no space to park their vehicles. They have since called for speedy completion of the project before the onset of the rains, as the area is prone to floods. More in this report.
This is Chimwemwe Road of Lusaka's Chawama Township. This stretch of the road has been reduced to one lane since the rehabilitation works of the Lusaka water service lines along this road started about 3 months ago. Residents in this area say the delayed completion of the project has destabilized their businesses.
It was taking almost 2 to 3 months before. So manje ma business ngopeze kati aba parking ma motoka kwao hapa. Kwa manje ni shitizavala mashopu, chongo. So manje ngopeze kati manje ati ma business yatu yaenda pa. So lo malipido ya mashopu yavutia kumonga pakati hapa manje kuti business kulibe na twavala mashopu.
Others say these open halls are a source of danger as criminals hide in them, waiting for an opportunity to attack members of the community.
Project ya chedosira ele tidandaula sekono kuchawama kwa kuku. Isevetandaula hapo abantu naverana nao kudala like 4 months ago walapata pasa ma 15. Ateni hizo drama zao zinasira kudama tata pa project yenda ikulira kwa then hapa pewa na visia vinyirisking so ngoma ino motoka nafuna kwera mabakawala rama pisa mama meneo kutishita attack. So ndiye ma problem zote zo pempa je kuti bashitako fast before tikaboshta tutenti ikulu side. And then namvula ikaloka so road wanasema baono. So zafunika at least before October nanu atikire ko tamaki at least bashite fast project so that vintu vingare munshi.
Ashita kwa manje ni too much. I think abaningi long baningi too much. So it's about monga sila kwa at least kuno batanze ko se bashito ko se fast ngani ya job ya mene. Mene at least batanga ko load. Ngani ya mvula kai. Time ya mvula ikafika. Izaipa load no kai. Zangara effective baningi too much kai.
Efforts to get a comment from Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company Public Relations Officer Shamba Mzungu proved futile by broadcast time as his phone went unanswered. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
The Patriotic Fund has charged that the civil society Party for National Development UPND, hence there has been limited accountability mechanisms. PF Media Director Edgar Longo charges that non-state actors are failing to criticize the government over alleged bad governance. He has charged that the UPND administration is using the police to undermine the freedom of assembly and association.
So Zambians must know that where we are sitting, things are not well. The democratic space continues to shrink. This government is bent at nothing but making sure that we annihilate the opposition political parties in this country are annihilated, and that there should be no voices from the opposition and other NGOs that have remained quiet because they went to bed with the UPND. So ideally, I think let President Hakainde Hichilema give opposition political parties space to express themselves, to give them alternatives. If they have failed, let them call for fresh elections so that we can go for fresh elections, so that UPND can be given a fresh mandate. Because at the rate we are going, you can see the mood by the Zambian people is extremely bad, because we would even think that maybe the country probably is on autopilot. So the stopping opposition leaders from addressing challenges that Zambians are facing is not a solution. Stopping opposition leaders to travel to Zimbabwe like they were trying to do to Fred Membe yesterday and Ambassador Mamba is not a solution. Let the president be magnanimous to allow opposition political parties express themselves, be given space to speak to the Zambian people on a number of issues that we feel that UPND have failed, so that we can give them solutions. We have the experience as Patriotic Fund Party. We have been in the opposition before. We went into government. Now we are on the opposition. If there's a political party worth their salt, who have the most experienced leadership in the country, it's a Patriotic Fund. So give us space, give President Edgar Longo to express himself, to move around, to meet the people, because that is his democratic right.
The opposition leadership movement party has urged the government to turn the site for the National House of Prayer, currently under construction, into a science research center. In an interview, Party Information and Publicity Secretary Jason Mwanza says the site should be used as a center to find solutions to address some of the challenges that the Zambian people are grappling with, adding that the country already has enough churches. Meanwhile, Apostle Council of Church Programs Director Reverend Mwaona Zulu says criticism of the House of Prayer is a lack of knowledge. Miriam Kayamba reports.
The National House of Prayer, whose aim, among other things, is to provide a common place of worship for the people of Zambia, a project which has faced criticism for quite some time. In October 2015, former President Edgar Longo broke ground on the National House of Prayer, a building project meant to reaffirm the country's status as Africa's Christian nation. However, the leadership movement party is of the view that the country does not need such, as there are already enough churches in the country. The opposition political party, whose manifesto has been so centered on production, is urging the government to turn the site for the National House of Prayer, currently under construction, into a science research center.
The prayer house that was attempted, that the PF party attempted to construct, that is going to be turned into a research center by Dr. Richard Silumbe and the Leadership Movement Party, so that we can do research on how we can also fit in the industrial revolution. Right now, we are in the 4th industrial revolution, and Zambia is not even yet at 1. This is a shame. We need to industrialize, we need to have enough factories, we need to have enough infrastructure where our people are going to be able to generate ideas that are going to sustain us in terms of practical results when it comes to development. We have enough malls, we have enough churches, but all these are social sectors. We need economic sectors.
These views from the opposition political party have, however, not sat well with the church. Apostle Council of Church Programs Director Reverend Maona Zulu says criticism of the House of Prayer is lack of knowledge.
Zambia must have its own national house of prayer. Therefore, I want to urge to advise the politicians out there, but that if you make a mistake to talk about the church, especially the national house of prayer, where you issue statements to say you turn it into research center, when you come into power, you are tampering with God. You are interfering with the business of God. Please stay away from the National House of Prayers issues. This issue belongs to us, the church. In fact, we are the National Day of Prayer Committee and Executive. Therefore, we are right now working on that house to be completed. We are working right now for that house to be done. But now for someone to come to say, no, we want this house to be turned into the National Research Center, that's not good.
He says there is no need to start politicizing the essential element of the government, which is the National House of Prayer.
Let's not politicize this issue. I want to state that when a politician or a leader of the nation comes here and declare things, let's not take it to political realm. Remember that Zambia is the only nation in this world where a Republican president came out in open and said Zambia is a Christian nation, which is very, very good. Zambia is the only nation where a Republican president came in and said we are building the National House of Prayer. This is very credible. This is very good for the nation. Therefore, even you as politicians, plan as you are planning to improve the nation. Also plan how you can develop Christianity in the land of Zambia.
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia Executive Director Bishop Andrew Mwenda says despite the government making strides to improve economic fortunes, the bottom line is that most children are going to bed hungry. Bishop Mwenda tells Camnet News that addressing the high cost of living must be a priority for the country. He wonders how children can be able to learn effectively on empty stomachs.
And you cut off this, you cut off that, without preparing the common man on the ground.
They need to bring them back.
Now, I don't know if there will be a need to do that, because it may grow us into a worse situation. Because we must understand that our economy is donor dominated. It's not so much like us doing this, but the donors are demanding that it be done like this. Even though they don't tell us, the truth is that the donors are the ones that actually have dominated to say, this is what you must do. It's the same thing that happened in 1991 when we got MMD into power. It was a donor kind of driven economy. The current one, I can't say it's a donor driven economy. They have a vision, it's a good vision, but please hear me. the life of the ordinary person has been tough. Good to have free education. And surely we thank the president for that. Employment and so forth. But the child is going on an empty stomach.
President Hakainde Hichilema and First Lady Mutinta Hichilema have arrived in China on a state visit hosted by President Xi Jinping. The visit aims to enhance trade and investment cooperation between Zambia and China, focusing on key sectors like energy, infrastructure, mining and manufacturing. President Hichilema says his delegation will also promote investment and tourism opportunities in Zambia, fostering public-private partnerships with China. He emphasizes the importance of this visit in finding markets for Zambian products. This is according to the president's official Facebook page, as monitored by Camnet TV News. New Congress Party leader Peter Chanda has advised President Hakainde Hichilema to iron out his differences with his predecessor, Edgar Longo. Mr. Chanda says President Hichilema must take advantage of the experience of the only surviving former president, whom he says is in a good position to advise on how to run a government. In the recent past, there have been incidents seen by many as harassment of the former First family by the New Dawn administration using law enforcement agencies. More in this report.
The relationship between former President Edgar Longo and his successor Hakainde Hichilema continues to be a source of concern among various stakeholders and citizens at large. Despite being the only leaders, their relationship has been described by many as sour, further accusing President Hakainde Hichilema of vengeance. The recent past has seen the perceived harassment of the former First family, which stakeholders have strongly condemned.
The willingness to reconcile, but they are out to revenge. No. This is very, there is tension in this country because of that.
This idea of trying to harass Edgar and his family is wrong. And all of us Zambians must condemn it.
Latest to register his displeasure is new Congress Party leader Peter Chanda, who feels President Hichilema can take advantage and benefit a lot from his predecessor's vast experience.
We are extremely worried with the relationship between the current head of state and the former head of state. Seems like it is growing sour each and every day. My humble advice to President Hakainde Hichilema is that he should humble himself before God Almighty and even before his predecessor. President Edgar Longo at the moment is the only statesman that has remained. Looking at what is happening to the family of President Edgar Longo, which has seemed to be orchestrated moves or politically inclined arrests, it's not good. A lot of economic challenges that we are facing today could have been averted if President Hakainde Hichilema considered President Edgar Longo as an asset to the country. One fact that needs to be put on record is that President Edgar Longo presided over this country for 7 years. Hence, he has the experience that he can be able to lend good advice to the current head of state.
Zambians' desire all along has been to see the two leaders sit side by side and share notes on governance issues. Will this dream ever come true?
With the smile.
Yes, you use that.
That one is better. Yes. No.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, Zambia's 6th Republican President, Dr. Edgar Longo, says no matter what people do to him, they cannot separate him from the love of God. Speaking during a church service at Pentecostal Holiness in Lusaka's garden compound, Mr. Longo says he was born by the grace of God, became president of this country by the grace of God, and served this country to his best by the ability of the grace of God. He further stated that he left office by the grace of God and he is still alive today by the grace of God. This is the first time he made a public statement after his wife, Esther Lungu, was arrested last week by police in connection with the theft of a motor vehicle.
The scripture says, for those of you who are down, see me afterwards, I'll give you the actual message. But the scripture says, for a fool in his heart says there is no God. For a fool in his heart says there is no God. And there are some foolish people in Zambia who think there is no God. Let me say it very clearly that by the grace of God, Zambia was declared a Christian country, Christian nation. By the grace of God, I was allowed to become president. By the grace of God, I'm still alive. By the grace of God, with His love, and I served by the grace of God with His love, and I left State House by the grace of God with His love. So those who think they can extinguish my love for God, they're wasting time. They're wasting their time. I keep praying for them and all of us to turn to God. I'm not an angel, I'm not an ordained clergyman, but I know there is God. So in His grace, God will see us through. He saw me through State House, He's still seeing me through retirement. Until that time when He goes me to meet Him, I will serve God. So I'm here to make a statement today. As someone I'm here, I'm going to place.
13 suspected criminals have escaped from police custody at Simon Mwansaka police station in Lusaka. The suspects were all charged with aggravated robbery and escaped from custody after spraying an unknown liquid in the eyes of a police officer during feeding time. Deputy Police Spokesperson Danny Mwale says the suspects pushed the cell door against the officer and scampered in different directions. Mr. Mwale has identified the suspects as Christopher Musimuko, Tinase Moyo, Christian Simfukwe, Ginasho Tembo, Bright Zulu and Stephen Walia, among others. Meanwhile, a mentally ill inmate has died while the other has sustained injuries after the duo jumped out of a moving vehicle through the window in Kalomo district. The deceased, identified as Nchimunia Mugala, sustained head injuries and was pronounced dead upon arrival at Kalomo Urban Clinic, while another mentally challenged inmate, identified as Vincent Chitobele, aged 20, is receiving treatment at the same clinic.
13 suspected criminals escaped from police custody at Simon Mwansaka police station in Lusaka. The suspects, all males, escaped from police custody after spraying an unknown liquid in the eyes of a police officer during feeding time. They pushed the cell door against the officer and scampered in different directions. The incident occurred on Saturday, September 9, 2023, at 16:25 hours at SMK police station. There were 22 suspects in police custody at the time the incident occurred. The suspects were identified as Christopher Musimuko, Tenesi Moyo, Christian Simfukwe, Ganasho Tembo, Bright Zuru and Stephen Waria, all charged with aggravated robbery offenses. Others are Chaisa Daka, Joseph Mshanga, and Arnold Chelo, all facing burglary and theft offenses, while Jonathan Mumba is charged with unlawful wounding, Gift Mulenga facing assault OABH, Chris Banda charged with theft, and Paul Jabu facing the offense of interfering with a motor vehicle. A manhunt for the suspects has been launched. We appeal to members of the public to be alert and report any of the suspects wherever they may be spotted to police. One mentally challenged inmate died while the other sustained injuries after the two jumped out of a moving motor vehicle through the window in Kalomo district. The deceased was identified only as Chumunya Mugala. He sustained fatal head injuries and was pronounced dead upon arrival at Kalomo Urban Clinic, while the other mentally challenged inmate, identified as Vincent Chintobele, aged 20, is receiving treatment at the same clinic. The incident happened on September 9, 2023, around 21 hours along the Great North Road, 8 kilometers south of Kalomo town. The 2 inmates jumped out of a moving Zambia Correctional Service Yontong bus bearing registration number ZCS3221, which was being driven by Chipolopolo, aged 41, of Livingstone Prisons Camp. The bus was moving from Chainama East Hospital in Lusaka and had 6 people on board, including the driver. The body of the deceased is in Kalomo Urban Clinic mortuary awaiting formal identification and post-mortem.
We'll take a break. We'll have more news after this break.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
On Monday, 11th September 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Kasonde Mwenda, President of EFF.
They don't have that money. They have been downgraded, they are in debt. Now they are trying to use KCM to leverage and make money out of us. Where do we put the people of Zambia? Where is their interest? So what we are seeing, those are falsehoods and we can bet on it. What?
As they discuss, is the political atmosphere conducive and democratic in Zambia? Watch and subscribe to Camnet Television Network on DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 25, Topstar channel 106. Camnet Television, your #1 community station in Zambia. This is your channel of choice. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with Camnet Television News. The government has described the relationship between Zambia and Zimbabwe as cordial. Ministry of Information and Media Director spokesperson Tawo Kawana says there is no diplomatic impasse between Zambia and Zimbabwe. Mr. Kawana was responding to concerns suggesting that there is a misunderstanding between the two countries. He said what transpired in Zimbabwe is an electoral process that Zimbabwe undertook as a country and sovereign nation. Mr. Kawana further added that President Hakainde Hichilema was represented at the inauguration of President Emerson Mnangagwa by the Foreign Affairs Minister, hence the head of state was in attendance.
That there is no diplomatic row between Lusaka and Harare. There is no diplomatic impasse between Zambia and Zimbabwe. There is no misunderstanding between President Mnangagwa and President Hakainde Hichilema. Our relationships continue to be cordial. Our relationship continue to be that of Siamese twins between Zambia and Zimbabwe. What transpired in Zimbabwe is an electoral process that they undertook as a country and as a sovereign nation, and they chose for themselves a leadership, and that leadership has been ushered into office. Now, there's insinuation that the president did not attend the inauguration, therefore even Zambia did not attend the inauguration. I want to make it very clear here that the president attended the inauguration of the president of Zimbabwe. He did. The president was represented by our foreign affairs minister in Zimbabwe at the inauguration. So he was in attendance.
The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, in collaboration with the Jesuits Justice and Ecology Network Africa, has proposed for the establishment of the parliamentary agency, which will be equipped with a diverse team of experts to monitor all planned foreign loans. JCTR Executive Director Father Alex Muyeve says the parliamentary agency should be able to evaluate each foreign loan in line with the country's priority needs and ensure that the loan conditions are fair and reasonable. Father Muyeve has further proposed for the establishment of an autonomous supranational anti-corruption agency under the umbrella of the African Union. He said this last evening during the launch of the program dubbed Driving Equitable Sovereign Debt Resolution in Zambia, whose objective is, among others, to advocate for the compulsory involvement of private creditors in debt restructuring and strengthening the domestic legal and governance framework.
Confronted with significant challenges concerning food, health, education, and infrastructure. So that's the background on which we are introducing these projects. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can agree with me that you are not yet out of the woods. And as the Americans would say, we got a lot of work to do. And we got to do this work together. And so this effort here, this project, is to mobilize all stakeholders, state and non-state actors, to work together to address this challenge that is facing our nation, so that we can have an equitable sovereign debt resolution for Zambia. But that, most importantly, that will set a model that can be followed by other countries.
What we are calling a debt crisis, we can also call it a governance crisis, because it also arises from failure to ensure that the money that we borrow is put to good use. As we know, a lot of it has been put to bad use through corruption. So there are all those forms of crisis that we need to deal with. And these crises were exposed especially during the COVID-19 crisis, when countries' revenues were going down, when countries' economic activities were going down, and we couldn't raise enough money to run anything that we do. So what we are being moved at, driven by the Catholic social teaching and by the teaching of Pope Francis, is to prepare the future.
Smart Zambia has encouraged the business community in the country to take advantage of the first ever Africa Summit to find a market for their goods and services in other countries. Smart Zambia National Coordinator Percy Chinyama says the summit is a good opportunity for the business community and innovators to showcase their products and services to the outside world. Meanwhile, Zambia News and Information Services Director Lois Saili has challenged the media to highlight the importance of the meeting.
First ever Pan-African e-government summit. Zambia is hosting. So Zambia will be in the heart of e-government in Africa. That's what we want to do. We want to be the leaders. We don't want to be followers, we want to be the leaders and want to take up that challenge. That's the least we can do to ensure that the head of state's plans to ensure that we are a digital economy are met. This is going to grow us because now we're fostering partnerships between the foreign entities, the private entities, their governments. So first on the private sector are going to meet with the big conglomerates, Microsoft, the Googles, they'll all be here. looking for people they can partner with in Zambia.
I think the coordinator has already given us the brief, has announced the official hosting of this important government summit, and I think the national coordinator has also invited us as media to publicize this important gathering. So that is why I'm standing here as a publicity chair for this summit on behalf of the Ministry of Information and Media. So we will be coordinating all media activities for this summit. So we invite you, our colleagues from the media, to be proactive. National coordinator has made himself available. He has said that his doors are open, including those of his directors, and so are we as a publicity committee. So we will be able to facilitate a lot of coverage on this summit.
Charleston Green Seventh-day Adventist Church District has donated assorted items, among them soap, salt and undergarments worth 3,290 kwacha and 3,000 kwacha cash to Chanama East Correctional Hospital. Charleston Green SDA Adventist Men Organization's AMO says the 3,000 kwacha will be given to those who will be released during the independence next month as they integrate back in society. The church has also baptized 14 inmates at Chanama East Correctional Hospital in a quest to spread the gospel to those in incarceration.
Numbers telling accepting Jesus as Lord and personal Savior is very exciting, and as our mandate is, we must be able to preach the gospel everywhere. We don't have boundaries, so we just hope that our work here will go a long way, and we continue working together with the administration here so that we be able to reach out to the many people that are in this facility.
So what you can see, these are the items that we got. So the cost of all these items is actually 3,300. So you've got salt there, you've got underwears, you've got soap, and you've got some children sticks. But other than that, we know that there are inmates that always get released.
Yes, of course.
So there's also an extra amount of 3,000 which we are giving to the institution to make sure they get released in October. They will not be that challenged.
Stranded, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they will not be stranded.
Yes.
On behalf of the officer in charge and indeed the inmates that are here, and also on behalf of all the officers that are here, we are actually so thankful for what the SDA has been doing to our facility, because each time we fall short of things, for example, things that will keep them going on, we are always there to call the SDA, beat any SDA around, and they'll be there for us. So we are always so grateful, and the works that you have been doing here at our facility, it shows that the outside society has not forgotten the people that are inside, because these people, they really need the love from outside. So what you are showing, and indeed the baptism that has been consistently happening here, it has also helped in reforming and shaping the inmates and showing that indeed the kingdom of God is growing.
You're watching Camnet Television News. We take a second and final break. We have international sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
On Monday, 11th September 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Kasonde Mwenda, President of EFF.
They don't have that money. They have been downgraded, they are in debt. Now they are trying to use KCM to leverage and make money out of us. Where do we put the people of Zambia? Where is their interest? So what we are seeing, those are false words, and we can bet on it. What?
As they discuss, is the political atmosphere conducive? and democratic in Zambia. Watch and subscribe to Camnet Television Network on DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 25, Topstar channel 106. Camnet Television, your #1 community station in Zambia. This is your channel of choice. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. And now in international news, Gabon's military leader, General Brice Oligui Nguema, has unveiled his transitional government consisting of representatives from diverse political backgrounds. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
Gabon's military leader, General Brice Oligui Nguema, has unveiled his transitional government comprised of representatives from diverse political backgrounds. Raymond Ndongsima, a 68-year-old economist educated in Paris, firmly opposed to Ali Bongo, has been appointed Prime Minister, among many others. The transitional government is composed as follows. Prime Minister and head of the transitional government, Mr. Raymond Ndongsima. Ministers, Minister of Institutional Reform, Mrs. Muriel Minkwe-Minsa. Minister of Foreign Affairs with responsibility for sub-regional integration in Gabonese abroad, Mr. Regis Unonga Ndiaye. In his inaugural address, General Oligui pledged to organize free, transparent and credible elections to re-establish civilian governance, though he did not specify a timeline. Additionally, General Oligui stated the intention to develop a new constitution collaboratively crafted with key stakeholders that will prioritize democracy and human rights. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia announced on Sunday the successful completion of the fourth and final filling of the Grand Renaissance Dam on the Nile. The dam has been the source of regional tensions with downstream Egypt and Sudan. Abiy made this announcement via a message on social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter. In his statement, Abiy Ahmed acknowledged the numerous challenges faced during the dam's construction, including internal difficulties and external pressures. The massive 4.2 billion dam, considered crucial by Addis Ababa, has been a focal point of regional dispute since Ethiopia initiated its construction in 2011. Egypt has been concerned that the dam could reduce its share of Nile water. The ongoing negotiations, which resumed after a hiatus of nearly 2.5 years, aim to achieve an agreement that takes into consideration the interests and concerns of all three countries involved. Egyptian Irrigation Minister Hani Siwilam called for an end to unilateral actions in this context. Morocco has been struck by its most lethal earthquake in decades, resulting in the tragic loss of over 2,000 lives. According to Professor David Rothery, an expert in planetary geosciences at the Open University, the earthquake is not a surprise, though it is infrequent.
Geologically speaking, it's not a surprise to have an earthquake like this. It's just very infrequent. Africa and Europe are colliding. Most of the action is further north, close to the Mediterranean, but the high Atlas Mountains are uplifted because of this collision between Africa and Europe. It's still continuing. So there are some earth movements beneath those mountains, and that's just what happened last night, and it will continue to happen. But these events on this scale are infrequent, and they're maybe once a century or even less frequent.
In rural areas south of Marrakesh, centuries-old buildings have crumbled, leaving a widespread of debris and red dust in their wake. In most instances, the buildings are made from mud bricks, unsuitable to withstand an earthquake of this magnitude.
And I think many of the buildings in the area are quite old and certainly haven't been constructed to modern seismic resilience standards. If you build cheaply, buildings fall down more easily. They'll have to think very seriously. Now, they know that earthquakes of this size can occur in a region. Is it worth investing in earthquake-resilient buildings? But there may not be a quake this big in the same area for another century. So it's a very difficult decision to have to make.
Morocco's ruler, King Mohammed VI, has given orders to set up a commission to provide relief according to the royal palace. So far, emergency measures taken include ramping up search and rescue operations, water, food and tents.
And in our sports news tonight, the CHIPOLOPOLO boys concluded their Group H Africa Cup of Nations qualifying campaign with a 1-1 draw away to Comoros to finish as table toppers. A second-half Patson Daka predatory strike cancelled Ben Yusuf's first-half strike. The draw took Zambia to 13 points to be drawn level with Ivory Coast, but the CHIPOLOPOLO edged out the Elephants on head-to-head. Daka took his tally in the qualifiers to 5 goals, underscoring his reputation as a fearsome forward. CHIPOLOPOLO coach AVRAM Grant says Zambia deserves to play at the biggest stage.
I came for the second round, more or less, the last 4 games. I think it was good, the team improving in all the aspects. We took 6 points against Lesotho, winning against Ivory Coast, which we secure our qualification to Africa after a long time, which is very important for us. And the game yesterday, even it was gay that we decided about anything, it was good to see that the team came back for 1-0 and first half not so good. And second half we played very well with a lot of character, and we deserve also to win the game. I think Zambia deserves to be in Africa. I was not here in the last 3 times, but it was not good that we was not in the African. We are very happy to be back to African. All the good teams in Africa. We deserve to be there, and we show it by the group. When a strong team like Ivory Coast in our group. We saw yesterday Comoros, they're a better team, they're a good team, and we did our job. I think I said it, there were 12 players of us. It was really good. Even yesterday, away game, we felt their support. They came. That was great. And in the home games, it was amazing. It was amazing to see games against Lesotho and the game against Lesotho, and the game against Ivory Coast was amazing by the fans. They supported us. I said there was the 12 players and the 13 players. They pushed us like crazy, and the players you see, they was running like they need to run. And part of it is because of the supporters. And our home is a very strong home.
To end Camnet Television News, the top stories once again. 13 suspected criminals escaped from police custody in Lusaka. Surgery on child born with 2 sexual organs has been successfully conducted. Former President Edgar Longo says no one will stop him from serving God. In international news, Gabon Prime Minister unveils transitional government officials. In sports news, CHIPOLOPOLO coach AVRAM Grant says Zambia deserves to play at the biggest stage. The Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 10. For even when we were with you, we gave you this rule: the one who is unwilling to work shall not eat. Thank you for watching Camnet Television News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.